Hello friends, looking at current affairs for 19th May, the news items picked up from the Hindu newspaper are these 13. We'll look at them in detail. The first one, World Court stays Jadhav execution. So this is regarding International Court of Justice. We have already discussed this in detail. Kulbhushan Jadhav, former Indian naval officer, has been sentenced to death by a military court in Pakistan, and India has been denied consular access, because of which it has approached the International Court of Justice that Pakistan is violating provisions under the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations. So now this case will be heard at International Court of Justice, which is a UN organ. And here presently the ruling is that the Pakistan order of execution should be stayed until the court decides on the matter. So this has been the ruling as such. So that is in this. The next is GST Council sets rates for most commodities. So we have discussed this about this too few days back. It has been going on in news that GST Council meeting would be there. So the meeting was conducted. It's a 2-day meeting. So on 18th May, the meeting conducted resulted in various commodities being categorized under the various tax slabs. So this had already been finalized by GST. These are the various tax slabs which have been finalized. So one is 0%, means some commodities would be zero rated, means not taxed as such, exempted from GST taxation. So this is that. Then 5% is for other commodities, 12% the third category, 18%. So actually basically there are 4 tax slabs, 5, 12, 18 and 28, and some are exempted. So you can consider it as 4 or 6 also. The 6th category being that the commodities, there are some commodities which are taxed at the highest rate of 28%, plus there is a cess also on them. So this cess has been imposed by the central government. This will be collected to compensate the state governments if they undergo losses because of implementation of GST. So we have already seen another bill has also been passed by the parliament to ensure compensation to states for the first 5 years post implementation of GST. So where would funding come for that? For that, it would come through this cess. So this is there. So basically 4 basic tax rates, but then UPS is not going to ask you a question that whether there are 4 tax slabs or 6 tax slabs. So such factual information you don't need to worry about. You should know the thing. You will be able to attempt answers. So this you can see now what has been done is specifically putting in categories in various tax slabs has been done. So GST Council has decided on this. There are still some categories which are pending. 6 categories are pending. On this decision would be taken on 19th May. So then we'll come to know about it tomorrow. So here you can see if it is taken. Otherwise another meeting would also be required of GST Council. GST Council you should already know about. It has been in news for a long time now. It comprises of all the state finance ministers. To 1/3 voting power is with the central ministers, and 2/3 is with the states, and the chairman of GST Council is the finance minister, Mr. Arun Jaitley. So here you can see what has been decided. So milk, cereals, unpackaged and unbranded, jaggery will be exempted from GST. Sugar, tea, coffee will come in at the first tax slab rate, that is 5%. Then commonly used items would come in the second category, 18%. So this even you can see the tax rate currently on these commodities is around 22 to 24%. So we are even trying to make it sure that taxation rates are not increased drastically on various commodities too. So the tax incidence remains almost the same. So that is there. So for some commodities, of course, it has gone down to, like you can see here, from 22 to 24 in under GST, it's going down. But what the government is expecting is that the tax collection would be high because tax at each stage, if anybody tries to fetch accounts, then it would come to know because the link would not set in. And there is a complete GST network, which is the IT backbone infrastructure for implementation of GST. So that will also be brought in. It has been put in place. It has been tested now. GST would be implemented from 1st July 2017. Then you can see coal also, taxation rate has gone quite low to 5%. Consumer durables come in the third category now, 28%. And if for petrol diesel cars, even small petrol diesel cars, taxation rate is the topmost category, 28%, and also a cess of 1% on petrol and 3% on diesel cars, small petrol and diesel cars. And luxury cars will have a higher cess rate, 15% cess would be there in addition to 28. All are in the 28% slab. Then GST 350cc Bikes for 350cc bikes also 28% category plus a cess of 3%. 6 categories have not yet been finalized. These include BD cigarettes. In what category they would be footwear, gold, and agricultural implements. So these are some of the commodities. So the further finalization would also be done. So, and tax rates on services also has to be finalized. So this is there. So various commodities, around 1,200 plus items which will be placed in various tax slabs, and this will be decided. So 6 categories will come later. So you can see how the items fit in. So majority of the items, you can see 43% of items are in the 18% tax slab. Then this 19% commodities are in 28% tax slabs, and 7% are exempted. So exempted, then this 5%, 12%, 18%, and 28%. Then the next news item is Zomato hacked, user data stolen. So this had come in news that Zomato has had around 117 million user records stolen. So email address and hashed passwords have been stolen. But Zomato has stated that payment related information is secure because it is stored separately in high secure vaults. So that has not been stolen. So no payment or credit card data as such has been stolen, but this incident has been reported. The next is NSCN IM recruitment drive worries center. So this is regarding NSCN IM, National Socialist Council of Nagaland, Isak Movia. So there are various factions in NSCN too. These are Naga separatist groups. The original demand is for Greater Nagaland. Sovereignty of Nagaland means they want a separate Nagaland nation, which includes not just parts of Indian northeastern states but also Myanmar. You can see here. So this regions from, this is Manipur, Assam, Arunachal Pradesh region, and of course Nagaland. All regions are included, including regions from Myanmar. And what they demand as Greater Nagaland, based on historical context also, plus also presence of Naga population. So this NSCN IM which is there, it's a long time since before independence actually the group had been formed, and Naga was demanding a separate sovereign nation for themselves. So post independence too, there has been this demand. Naga National Council was then formed by the leader Fizo. So after that, various factions have been formed. So NSCN IM is one of the factions. Other faction is NSCN-K. So they have signed ceasefire agreements also with center. In 1997, such a ceasefire was also signed. And in 2015, a breakthrough which came forth was that NSCN IM signed a framework agreement with present central government, Modi government, for peace. So further details of this would be finalized. They are still being negotiated. But presently, what's the news we'll see. So here you can see, say NSCN IM, the central government is now saying that it has recruited around 5,000 new cadres since the last 2 years, since the framework agreement has been signed. So for details of this agreement have not come forth, and it is stated that these new cadres have been recruited as such by NSCN IM now after it is moving ahead towards peace, because the locals have been said that they would be recruited into central armed police forces once the final agreement is signed. So this is a worrying factor which is coming forth now. Also, NSCN IM has earlier stated that Nagas have now agreed to coexist with India under shared sovereignty. So this is the statement which they have made. So from separation, asking for separation from India, they have come to the status of having shared sovereignty, coexisting with India. So what does this further imply? We'll come to know once the agreement is finalized and it comes in public. But this is the status right now. Also, security forces have highlighted that NSCN IM is still involved in extortions in various parts of Nagaland, Manipur, and such activities need to be stopped. So this is the news here. Then the next news item is ISRO gets Indira Gandhi Prize for 2014. So this had already been announced. This is Indira Gandhi Prize for Peace, Disarmament and Development. So for 2014, it was awarded to ISRO for its development in even launching the Mars Orbiter mission, Mangalyaan. So this is a cash prize of 1 crore rupees and a citation. So this prize is awarded by this trust, Indira Gandhi Memorial Trust. So trustee Dr. Manmohan Singh has awarded this to ISRO chairman presently. For 2015, the recipient was UN High Commissioner for Refugees. This is an international award instituted in India. And this is regarding the Mangalyaan mission. Mangalyaan Mars orbiter mission was launched in 2013, November 2013, and then in September 2014 it reached its orbit around Mars and it has become operational. So the Mars orbiter mission was one of the cheapest ones. So in around 450 crores, India launched Mars orbiter mission as compared to other international space organizations which invest a lot of money in such missions. Also, India became the first country in the world to achieve success in its first attempt in sending a mission to Mars. So this was Mars orbiter mission. So the mission's aim was to map the Martian surface, study the atmosphere, search for methane gas on the Mars. The next is NALSA offers instant legal aid to the poor. So this is regarding National Legal Services Authority, which is a statutory body established under the National Legal Services Act to provide legal aid to the underprivileged section of the society. So this is chaired by Supreme Court judge. So it has now decided, state legal services authorities are also set up, but what it has decided is a facility called legal assistance establishment. So it's called Nyaya Sanyog. So Nyaya Sanyog will make sure that the litigants get access to court documents, case status, connect to the advocates online and through dedicated phone numbers. So facilities are being provided under NALSA. So that Nyaya Sanyog you should know about. So the poor litigants, the families of under trials who are languishing in jails will get quick access to justice now. So this is the case. This National Legal Service Authority, you can see the act is of 1987 to provide free legal service to weaker sections. Then the next news item is 2 M777 Howitzers arrived from US. So Howitzers are these artillery guns. So these guns we had last inducted from Bofors, which is a Swedish firm. So these Bofors guns resulted in a huge scandal because of kickbacks which had been allegedly paid. So after that the deal was stuck and no Howitzers could get inducted. Now after such a long time, finally we have these M777 ultralight Howitzers from US inducted. So it's BAE Systems of USA which has built it. But 145 of these would be brought. The deal has been signed, contract has been signed in November 2016, and the news presently is that 2 of these have arrived into the country. So these 145 will be gradually inducted. 125 initially would be imported and 120 would be assembled in India. So Make in India in defense is also being promoted by the government. So this will be assembled in India. BAE Systems has partnered with Mahindra Group for this project. So this is there. So induction would start gradually and which is expected to be finished till 2021. So these are the ultralight howitzers. So after 3 decades, finally, we get this M777 howitzers. Then the next news item is All India Muslim Personal Law Board against triple talaq, says Council. So now in the Supreme Court, AIMPLB has also has put forth its viewpoint that they are against instant triple talaq and they would make sure that Muslim women, the brides, get this option that they can lay down this condition in their nikah nama. So in Islam, in Muslim marriages also, that is a contract. So there's a nikah nama contract. So in that you can put this provision that the husband would be forbidden from pronouncing instant triple talaq on them. So such provisions can be brought in. This is what All India Muslim Personal Law Board has submitted before the Supreme Court. Then next is new bill to deter offenders escape. So this is Fugitive Economic Offenders Bill 2017. So this has been proposed by the government. So this bill will deter economic offenders. Fugitive means who run away from the country. So the fugitive economic offender would be a person who has an arrest warrant issued against him in respect to an offense and he has left the country to avoid criminal prosecution. So if he is an economic offender, this status can be given to him, and under this then what would happen is that his properties can be attached and confiscated which are owned by him in India. So this even in the context of Vijay Mallya case, who should be a fugitive economic offender under this category. So he has moved to UK, escaped to UK, you can say the warrant was issued but he had already left, and he has around 9,000 crores of loans on which he has defaulted to a consortium of banks, especially including public sector banks. So this is a new bill which has been proposed to tackle such situations in future. The next is India aims to boost trade ties with African nations. So this African Development Bank will have its annual meeting in Gujarat in Gandhinagar presently. So India is also a partner here. So African Development Bank comprises of 81 countries, and out of these 57 are from Africa, 24 are not from Africa, but members of African Development Bank, and India is also one amongst them. So India has provided line of credit to around 152 line of credit have been extended to various nations. Around 44 nations of Africa have been provided this line of credit. So loans are being provided as such. And also in the last meeting, India-Africa Forum Summit, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi had committed $10 billion line of credit to African nations. So we do provide facilities. Even Indian companies have invested in African nations. A huge amount of money has been invested in here too. So this is now the African Development Bank annual meeting would be held in India. The next is employee activism will risk IT jobs. So this is NASSCOM chief president stating that there is no layoff, massive layoff as such going on in IT sector, which is being reported. So this is actually employee activism, which because they are stopping workforce realignment. So based on performance, workforce realignment takes place. So they are stopping that as such, being active about demanding their rights, and because of this has resulted in the employment issues which are seen in the IT sector. The IT companies do not want to lay off. So there is no such thing as massive layoffs taking place in the IT sector. It has rather stated that a huge amount of employments are taking place. So top 5 companies in the 4th quarter of financial year 2016-17 have hired around 50,000 plus employees. So such reports are being dismissed by the NASSCOM chief. So this is the stated. These IT forums, IT employees forums, trade unions are saying that the profit motive of IT companies, because of this, they are replacing highly paid executive employees with lesser experienced, low paid new recruits. So this is the layoff which is being alleged as such, but then it is stated that there are some employees who are losing their jobs because of even modernization, because of automation as such too, but then automation and new areas of development also result in new jobs created. So it is leveled up. So there is no such massive layoff as such according to NASSCOM. The next news item is man-made bubble around the earth. So NASA probes have now spotted a man-made barrier around the earth. So it's like a bubble covering over the earth, and that has been developed because of very low frequency radio communications. So they interact with the particles in space and create a bubble. So they prevent high energy space radiations from reaching the earth too. So this has been detected by NASA. And the last news item is scientists bring limitless blood supply closer to reality. So scientists for the first time have now generated blood forming stem cells. So stem cells, pluripotent stem cells are there. So stem cells are raw cells. They have not been differentiated into specific type of cell. So stem cells can be developed into any type of cell. So they can be coaxed. So this is the new technology available, that stem cells can be coaxed to be converted into any type of cell. And these researchers presently have done this to convert them into blood cells. So if this is possible, then there will be unlimited blood supply available, limitless supply of human blood as such. So this is possible. So these are being experimented. Presently, experiments have been done only on mice. So these pluripotent stem cells become a mix of true blood stem cells too, and other cells also, blood progenitor cells, which will develop into stem cells. So these blood cells can now be used as such for various types of genetic defects or other requirements. So this, even a patient's genetic blood disorder can be corrected through gene editing, and functional blood cells can be developed. So this possibility is available now, is what this study is saying, and this researchers have already undertaken these experiments on mice. So these are the news items. Thank you.